All right, ladies and gentlemen, had to let my hair down for this one. Special edition, unplanned, 40 days of 4VKM. I don't even remember what day we're on. I still got to record the episode that's going to come out later today. Still got to do that one. I record these generally a day in advance. So for anybody that's wondering why I didn't talk about in yesterday's episode what the news that came out the day of regarding Vincent Kennedy McMahon, that's why, right? So I did release a video on Twitter. Recommend everybody takes that out. On X, I released it. And basically gave my first impression of the situation. But as I say in the video, I was very tied up that day. I didn't have a chance to really look at the information. All I could see is people's reactions really on X, which, you know, they are what they are. So last night I read the 67-page lawsuit that was filed in Connecticut Court. And, you know, horrible stuff in there, right? Some of the most graphic, disgusting stuff that you'll ever read in a report, right? And you see screenshots of text messages. There's 4 screenshots of text messages, right? You don't see a whole conversation. You see 4 screenshots of text messages. You know, let's see what's going to happen. I wasn't really sure how to respond to this at first. And it wasn't until I saw the release from Vince McMahon's spokesperson that the lawsuit was full of lies and Vince is prepared vigorously to defend himself. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, well, what's this look like then, right? A little bit of lawfare maybe? Oh God, you can't defend this. You can't defend this. There's screenshots of text messages, right? Like, you know, somebody can't have your phone and send text messages from your phone, right? And delete them so you don't see that they're there either, right? Not saying that's what's happened, right? All I'm saying is that you can't jump to conclusions because every single person that's ever hated Vince McMahon now has this beautiful thing to go off of and to reaffirm why they hate Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Now, my position is not changing. I'm for VKM. I do 4VKM.com, right? Which is for Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And as I've explained in other episodes and interviews that I've done, the whole reason why I started doing 4VKM is because I realized that the entire media apparatus kills this guy. And they have forever. The government's gone after him. The fake news has gone after him. What does this remind you of? What else is going on in the world? What else has been going on for the last 40 years? Who else? It's like public enemy number 1 is Donald J. Trump, and public enemy number 2 is Vincent K. McMahon. Sorry, it just is what it is, right? I show you the correlation. I talked about it in the video yesterday, right? I've been saying it on X. Pull up my old tweets, right? Whatever they throw at Donald Trump, they end up throwing at Vince McMahon shortly after, and this is just another example of it, right? Donald Trump was just in court today, stormed out of the whole E. Jean Carroll situation, right? Does anybody believe that story? The only people who believe it are the people who already hated Donald Trump, right? So their confirmation bias is kicking in. So, and you could say I have a confirmation bias too. I got to defend this guy, right? Well, you know, if my gut and my heart believed any of this 67-page complaint, you know, I'd be probably speaking a different tune right now. But you have everybody else who's kind of just this is too crazy to touch. I'm done with Vince. He's got to be erased from WWE. He's got to get, you know, TKO's got to get rid of him, all this stuff. So let's recap what's happened in the last week. On Monday, they announced The Rock was joining the board of directors, right? They also announced Netflix, 10-year, $5 billion deal with Netflix, right? Now, you can say, who's behind Netflix, right? What former president works with Netflix, right? Can't be a good thing, right? Maybe it's not a good thing. Or maybe those people aren't really in control of anything to begin with. So you have The Rock gets announced to the board of directors. The same day, again, recorded the day before and planned out, timed 40 days of 4VKM, right? So we had a start date, which I think was 112 or 113. We have an end date, which is 221, right? And there was 41 episodes I got to cover in between. And it just so happens that the day that we're talking about The Rock and the former CEO of Barstool Sports, Erica, joining the board of directors for WWE, it just so happens The Rock joins the board of directors of TKO, which is the parent company of WWE now, and the WWE's board that Vincent Kennedy McMahon is the chairman of. And he was there present at the New York Stock Exchange on Monday, ringing the bell with The Rock, right? So, boom, there he was. I told you guys, The Rock's his guy, right? Now he's on the board with them. That happens, and then just a couple days later, this lawsuit comes out, right? So, what did they know? What's going on? So, let's peel back the onion a little bit. Let's talk about the lawsuit. I always talk about the date, June 17th. Now, this gets covered in a future episode, and one of the videos that I highly recommend everybody watch today is Macro Dosing 4VKM, Conquer the Darkness 2. I haven't covered this in the 40 days of 4VKM yet, but I lay out for you the entire timeline in storyline of this whole scandal that comes out with Vince McMahon that was shown in WWE storylines, including the date, June 17th. Now, what's so important about June 17th? I always tell you June 17th. It was my birthday, June 17th. 617, born in the 617 area code. Born on 617, in 617, right? Going back to the storylines, right? You had Vince McMahon, he ends up retiring on June 17th. That's the day that he stepped down as WWE CEO. And I'm already 2 years into 4VKM at this point. And I'm like, damn, Vince is stepping down because this scandal came out in 2022. Vince is stepping down on my birthday, June 17th. How is this a thing, right? So Vince steps down on June 17th. I show you in this video all of the June 17th comms, even in WWE storylines. Salmon suit, Mark Henry, his retirement speech was on June 17th, right? Vince, when he got storyline fired the first time by Triple H, when he said the board of directors has lost confidence in you, Vince is wearing the same colored salmon suit, right? So I show you all this in the video. And basically what I'm showing you is that it seems like Vince was in control of that whole scandal as it came out. I don't know how. We talked about Project Looking Glass before, right? Did they use that? I don't know. I don't know how they know what's going to happen in the future. But they tend to know what's going to happen in the future, right? And Vince put in storylines what was going to happen to him in the future, 2022. So let's go to the complaint that gets filed. This young lady, her first day in WWE, June 17th, 2019. Wow, right? Her first day, June 17th, 2019. 3 years to the day of that, on the same day, June 17th, 2022, Vince McMahon, the CEO, steps down from CEO because of this woman, right? So I was showing you the correlations before between Donald Trump and Vince McMahon and how they go after him, the same thing on everything, right? They said that Donald Trump had the hush money scandal, right? Stormy Daniels, all that stuff, right? Vince has the hush money scandals with this woman and others, right? They call Donald Trump a racist. They call Vince McMahon a racist, right? They said Donald Trump raped somebody. They say Vince McMahon raped somebody, right? And then let's go even further, right? Do you guys remember the dossier? What were they saying about Donald Trump? They were saying that he went to Russia with Melania and got Russian hookers to give him a golden shower and pee on his bed, right? Does this sound like Donald Trump to you? One of the biggest germaphobes in the world, right? You think he wanted this, right? And none of this stuff panned out. None of that stuff panned out, right? So you're reading the Vince McMahon thing. He shit in people's hair, more gold and shit. The most vile, disgusting stuff that you can come up with. So then nobody can defend it, right? I guess I'm the only idiot stupid enough to do it, right? But everybody else has to run away from it and say, oh, Vince McMahon can't, it's got to be what happened. It's got to be what happened. And I'll remind everybody that in the United States of America, you're innocent until proven guilty. So Vince McMahon said he's going to vigorously defend these allegations against him. So we got to see what happens in that case, right? That's what we have to wait for. We're seeing all these other lawsuits that are just taking public relations hits, or at least trying to, on Donald Trump, and we see none of those things are panning out. So let's see what happens with the Vince McMahon lawsuit. Be the trial of the century, part 2, I guess, right? But they said he committed human trafficking. Human trafficking. What are we saying the whole 17th operation, all this stuff is about, which has been embedded in WWE storylines for years? Trump bought WWE Raw from Vince in storyline in 2009, in the 17th year of Monday Night Raw's existence. Don't forget, he was POTUS 45, hosted WrestleMania 4 and 5. Like I say in my video last night on Twitter, I can go on and on and on. That's why I've been doing these videos, to explain people the connections, in case you didn't catch them when I did the interview, my videos in the past, right? Because I get it, not everybody gets them, right? So that's why I'm here to explain. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say on the Vince McMahon situation. He'll have his day in court. If he's guilty, what are you going to do, right? They want to erase him from the history books at that point. What are you going to do about it? But for everybody to act like, anytime an accusation comes up, you got to believe it 100%, and how dare you question it, and honestly, you got to grow up, and you got to realize how the real world works. I did a little bit of research on the law firm, Robinson and Cole, I think it is, right? Look up the managing partner of that law firm. I put that on Twitter, right? First thing you notice about her on her profile on the web page, she's got all her pronouns listed there, so she wanted everybody to know she's a she, her, so make sure you address her properly. And then I checked out her political donations, and you can see kind of where she exclusively donates to one specific party. I'll let you guys guess which one it is. And I was like, what else? What else can I find out about her? I read on her profile, right? What's the address of her office? It's 666 3rd Avenue. Wow. What are the odds of that, right? So, I'm not saying, I'm not going to come here and stand in front of you and say, Vince McMahon is innocent, he did nothing wrong, and, this whole thing, there's no way that it's possible that it's true. Look, I think most people realize Vince McMahon was a freak, right? Is he that much of a freak? I guess we'll find out in court. But at the end of the day, even when you read the text messages, which are selective, you see screenshots of them. You only see one text message back from the accuser. And, it's interesting, to say the least, right? I like to use that word, interesting, a lot. So my advice, read the 67-page complaint. You'll probably get sick reading the shit that's in there. And, again, I'm not going to say that nothing happened that shouldn't have happened or what, but when you see a guy come out and say, this lawsuit is riddled with lies and we're prepared to defend ourselves, kind of shows a high degree of confidence on his end. You didn't see Vince McMahon resign from TKO today. Not to say that it couldn't happen, right? But there's one other point I want to drive home. Again, if you read the lawsuit, the whole reason why this new lawsuit is coming to fruition is because they're saying Vince never finished paying the NDA money. So it's supposed to be $3 million, and he only paid $1 million. So let me ask you something, right? Why would he stop paying her? Especially knowing what would happen, right? What the consequences would be. Why would he stop paying her? I don't know. It's almost like he wanted to go to court. That's the only thing I could think of, right? Maybe he knew that this was, maybe he thinks he got set up. Maybe the way that he proves that he was set up is through court. It's kind of like the whole Trump stuff, right? I mean, how else do you introduce evidence at the end of the day, right? So, again, I'm just speculating. And I'm just here to give you a contrarian opinion because nobody's going to have the balls in the internet wrestling community, as far as journalists or whatnot, that's going to come up here on camera and tell you guys, well, hold on a second, before everybody jumps to conclusions, right? So, that's it. Why did he stop paying? Knowing that this would be a disaster if he did. Do you know how much money he just sold in TKO stock? Do you know how much his net worth increased when the merger happened between WWE and TKO? And even before that, he was a billionaire, over $2 billion net worth, right? So, you gonna tell me he ran out of money? He couldn't afford $3 million to finish paying her off, right? There's something to think about there. And again, I feel horrible for everybody involved. I feel horrible for Linda for having to go through all this. But at the end of the day, we got to see what happens. We got to see what goes down in the court case. So I'm sure people will jump on me for this video. I'm going to continue on course. I still got, I think, 25 episodes to cover for you guys in the 4VKM, 40 days of 4VKM. So I'm going to continue to do that because I have a story that needs to be told, and it's going to get told, right? So for all the Cleveland Steamer comments and all this other stuff, all I would say is read the complaint yourself and think about how our justice system has been weaponized, right? And, consider the possibility that, wow, maybe Vince is innocent. Maybe he is. Maybe he's guilty as hell. I guess we'll find out. So stay tuned. I'll keep you updated as more information comes out. Don't forget, we have the 4VKM podcast that's launching on 2/21. We're going forward with that, baby. So to all the haters, the Vince McMahon haters, the 4VKM haters, we ain't going nowhere. So enjoy the show still.